Hi, Lindy. How are you today? Good. So, what brings you in here today?
Well, I've just been really anxious lately.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit more about what's making you feel anxious?
Well, I've just been having these really anxious thoughts of, you know, nobody likes me or something bad's always going to happen to me.
Okay. And how are these anxious thoughts affecting you? What's going on with that?
Well, so for example, my mom calls me and my sister's mad about something. So it makes me think that it's my fault because my sister won't just call me. And then I just get super anxious and I feel like I can't breathe and my heart starts racing. And, I feel like I'm almost having a panic attack.
Wow. Okay. That sounds really hard.
Yeah, it becomes overwhelming.
Yeah. Last time that so your mom's calling you because your sister's upset with you, and your mom calls to tell you about it? Is that what's
Yes.
happening?
Hmm.
Okay. So the last time that your mom called you to tell you that your sister was mad at you, um, what were you thinking when your mom was telling you this?
Well, I kind of thought, why didn't my sister just call me instead of going through my mom? And then it goes through a whole chain because that makes me more anxious because then it feels like more people know. And then I know she'd tell my other sister, and you can see how it leads to more and more.
Okay, so why didn't she call me? What other kinds of things are you thinking?
I guess I just think that it's not fair that my sister always has to tell her problems to my mom instead of just coming to me.
Okay. And you said something about that it like becomes this whole chain. Do you have any thoughts about that? Like how it kind of blows up into this bigger thing?
Well, because it starts off with my sister and then moves to my mom, which then moves it back to me, which then I tell my husband, and then my husband tells me his thoughts, and then it goes to I call my mother-in-law, and then it goes to, the person after person, and I guess it doesn't have to be that way, but it feels like it has to be that way because I feel like I have to tell my side too.
Sure. Okay. So are you thinking anything about that when your mom's talking to you?
About the what's going to happen next.
Yeah, or about how you're going to handle it. Are you having any thoughts about that?
Well, I guess like when I think about handling it, like I want to just call my sister first, but then she doesn't answer. So I'm like, well, then what can I do next? And I don't want to keep giving my information to my mom because sometimes she doesn't relay it all the same.
Okay. Okay. And so when all of this is going on, how are you feeling? What kind of like emotions are you having?
I just feel sad and defeated.
Okay.
I
Anything
just,
else?
well, just nervous, I guess, that I'm waiting for the next family outing and for it to come out. And then I get nervous that, something's going to happen when I'm at a family event and I won't know how to stop it.
Okay. So it sounds like you're also thinking about like how this is going to affect your relationship or next time you see your sister. So are you
Yeah.
thinking anything specific about that when this is during this phone call?
Well, I just feel like we used to have such a good relationship, and now I don't know what our relationship will be like. And then that's what kind of makes me sad because I think I used to be able to tell her stuff, but now she just gets upset about everything.
Okay. That sounds frustrating.
It is because I feel like she used to not be that way.
Okay. So when you're talking to your mom, you're thinking all these things about how it's not fair and why isn't my sister calling me? What can I do to resolve this? How's this going to affect our relationship? And then you're feeling really kind of sad and defeated, nervous or frustrated. Then what happens? What do you do?
I usually, like, when I get to that point, like, I'm already so anxious that I feel like I can't even look at my phone. Like, I'm starting to have the racing thoughts, the heart pounds, um, and I just feel that nervousness. It just like overcomes me.
Okay. Um so then what after you get off the phone with your mom and you're feeling all these kind of anxious feelings and feeling it really nervous and um, anxious in your body, what do you do?
I, well, I cry a lot.
Okay.
And then I just, I don't know, I try to talk to my husband because I feel like he can kind of calm me down a little bit.
Okay. And that's kind of what creates that chain of kind of getting everybody involved, is that
Hmm.
you're having all these feelings. So then you try to talk to other people
Yeah.
about it to help resolve it.
Hmm.
Okay. Does that help resolve it?
No.
Not down and feel better, or does it help
Well,
you just
it helps me
perpetuate it?
calm. It helps me calm down when I do talk to those people, but I don't think it resolves it. It kind of probably even makes it worse because you shouldn't talk to multiple people about your issue with them.
Right. And you said, do you ever try to call your
Yeah, but sometimes she doesn't answer.
sure? I bet that's frustrating.
Well, yeah, and then I get more nervous because she won't answer.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
then
it
I've
just
called
kind
her
of
27 times.
okay. So you're calling her a bunch of times too, trying to
Yeah, and then she won't answer me, which makes me even more frustrated because I know she's ignoring me.
sure. That sounds really frustrating.
Hmm.
Really hard to deal with. So let's talk about a way that maybe we, when this happens, because it sounds like it's something that happens pretty regularly, or
Yeah,
more than, oh, not just one time.
right.
So the next time that your mom calls you to talk about something about. Um, so that's kind of the problem, right? Is that
Right.
your sister's talking to your mom, and then your mom's calling you, and it kind of sets off this chain of thinking about how it's not fair,
Hmm.
and you don't know what to do, and kind of wondering about the relationship with your sister, and then that makes you feel kind of defeated and sad and anxious and nervous. So then you
Hmm.
talk to your husband or your other sister or your mother-in-law to try to kind of feel better, but that
Right.
really doesn't help resolve the problem. So that
Right.
sounds like kind of the problem. What makes this problem something that you decided to come and get help with now?
I think it made me come now because I used to be able to just get over it, but now it's become, made me so anxious that I'm almost getting to the point of a panic attack where I can't settle down.
Okay,
And
so that
that's where I just thought that I probably need to see somebody.
okay, so it's kind of getting the level of intensity of the anxiety is kind of getting worse and getting harder to deal with. So that's kind of what brought you in
Yes.
and triggered this. Okay. So when this problem happens, when your mom's calling you about your argument with your sister, how are you coping with these kind of anxious feelings? What are you doing to kind of calm down, or what makes you feel better?
Well, I mean, it makes me feel better when I talk to my husband. Um, but I kind of think he doesn't understand because he doesn't have sisters, so he doesn't understand
Mm-hmm.
what that's like.
Okay.
So sometimes I just try to like pick up my book and try to read because if I consistently just sit there and think about it over and over and over, I get more nervous.
Okay. So you try to read, talk to someone. Anything else that you try to do to kind of cope with these anxious feelings?
Um, yeah, sometimes I um, like go for a walk and exercise.
Okay. And do those things help? Do they help you calm down, even if it's just for a little bit?
Yeah, it does for that time being. And I try to like leave my phone at home while I go on a walk so that I'm not focused on checking it every 5 minutes for a text or something like that.
Okay. So you try to kind of step away from the problem and take a and come back to it.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, while these coping skills are kind of sounds like they're really working to help you kind of feel down and calm down and reduce that anxiety in the moment, it sounds like they're not really doing a lot to resolve the problem between you and your sister. So
Yeah.
what are some things that we, instead of like talking to your mom, talking to your other sister, or your husband, or your mother-in-law about this problem with your sister that kind of perpetuates the cycle and blows it up into a bigger problem, what are some things that you could try instead that you haven't tried before?
Mm, I could try just texting my sister and asking her to please call me. That way I'm not calling her a million times, but to just say, like, I'd really like to talk to you and I don't want anybody else to be involved.
Okay. So you know your sister won't answer the phone when you call, but she'll
Mhm.
probably read a text, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So you could start with texting her and say, "Hey, when you're ready, I'd really like to talk about this so we can resolve it and not stir up all this stuff with everybody else in our family."
I feel like that'd be a great place to start.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like a really good plan. Have you ever talked to your sister when she's not upset with you about this problem? About like how
Yeah,
her calling your mom
yeah,
instead of you makes you feel?
yeah. And then she kind of gets defensive, and then she starts to, well, everybody's talking about me behind my back. And then she talks about how my mom's talking to me, and then that makes her more mad. And then I tried to explain to her, like, well, you tell mom because I know that you want her to tell me. And then it just kind of instigates into another fight.
Right, so that doesn't really do anything to resolve it either.
Yeah.
Okay. So you feel like texting her after you talk, because you know that she's going to talk to your mom.
Yeah.
But if you could text her after you get off the phone with your mom and then just kind of wait until your sister gets, do you think that she'll call you?
I feel like she would call me on when she's ready, not even though she knows that I'm anxious and want to talk to me, like
Hmm.
that I want to talk to her. I feel like she'll call me, but it'll be like 2 hours later.
Okay. So, but at least then she's getting the space that she needs and she knows that you want to talk about it and resolve it.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's just in the moment I really want her to talk to me right then.
Right. But she's not willing to do that. It doesn't sound like.
Yeah, no.
Okay. And do you think the calling is helping the situation, or do you think it's making it worse?
It's probably making it worse.
So you think the text will kind of at least get you to you can at least say what you need to say and then kind of give your sister that space
hmm
and
And then
help.
she won't be as irritated because I called her so many times.
Sure. Well, if you did this, and even though you'll still have a lot of anxious feelings about it because you aren't able to resolve it, it sounds like you have some good coping strategies that are helping you calm down in the moment. You can take a walk, maybe talk to your husband about your own feelings, um, or read a book or something like that to help you calm down in the moment. Send the text to your sister and then kind of wait
hmm
until she is ready to talk to you.
I think that that'd be a great place to start, and hopefully using that she would be less mad at me.
Okay. Well, so you feel like this is something that you can do. How often is this happening, would you say, with your mom and your sister?
I'd say at least once a week.
Okay. So you might get an opportunity to try this kind of alternative action plan meet again next week, and then we can kind of talk about how it went next week.
Okay.
Does that sound like a good plan?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, I'll look forward to hearing how it goes. And sounds like, keep using those coping skills. It sounds like they're really working for you. And we'll just check in next week and see how it goes.
Okay, sounds great.
All right, great. Thanks. See you next week.
See ya.